Welcome to This Week There's a Book in My Nook. The first book that I'm going to talk about is The Miseducation of Cameron Post, and this is by Emily Danforth, and this is in the young adult department. And there's been some controversy over this book, and it's been banned in a couple schools and some libraries due to the subject matter. So when several of my kids heard about it, they asked if we could read it for book club to see for ourselves, so we did this month.
Are you serious?
Yes. They're saying the reason that it was banned was due to language. I read the book. There's very little language. I mean, you read Winger. There was a couple.
Yes.
There was a lot more language, I thought, in Winger than in this. I don't think that's the real reason it was banned. They're saying that's what it was. That's not what it was. The subject matter deals with a same-sex relationship between a girl and several other girls, not at the same time, but through her life. As she's discovering herself and her sexuality, she discovers that she's gay. And I think that is why it was banned. Because, if you think about it, there are several books about guy-gay relationships. This is the first one I've read about a girl-gay relationship. So I'm thinking...
I always thought that people had more trouble with two guys than they did two
I
women.
thought they did too, but if you think about books, we were talking about this at the teen book club, and we thought of at least 10 books up there that would have guy same-sex in it, but this is the only one that we could think of that had a girl in it. And can you think of any that you read young adult that had girl? I bet you could think of some that, like Winger, had a gay guy.
Well, yeah, but you didn't know that till the very, very, very end. The book wasn't solely about
Wasn't
that.
solely about, but there's been others, and we'll talk about.
But is this what this book is solely about?
The majority of it, yes.
Then maybe that's why it's banned.
But David Levithan has written several books. Two Boys Kissing? Hello?
But is that what it's about the whole entire time?
Yes. So, I don't know. Anyway, it starts out, and this is about Cameron, and it takes place in rural Montana during, I think, the early 1990s. And she's like 12 or 13 when it starts out, and it's about her and her best friend Irene. They're hanging out all summer long, and they end up in the hayloft, and they're talking and so forth, and Irene dares Cameron to kiss her. They kiss, and they kind of start having an experimental little relationship besides being best friends. They kiss off and on. Well, she's spending the night at Irene's house, and they get a phone call, and Irene's mom's acting extremely upset. She's crying. They come in and tell Cameron that she needs to go home. Well, her grandmother was watching her. Her parents were on vacation. To find out, her parents died in a car accident, both of them. So now...
This is Irene or Cameron?
Cameron. And this is what the story's about, Cameron.
Okay.
So now she's going to have to live with her grandmother. And her aunt, Ruth, who is extremely conservative and religious, comes to live with them. And the two of them are going to raise Cameron. So Cameron knows that she cannot let them know that she has these feelings towards girls. So she pretty much suppresses it for quite a while. She's on swim team, and she befriends this girl named Lindsay, who's there for the summer staying with her dad, and Lindsay is openly gay. And they start having a relationship, but in private, so that Cameron doesn't get found out. Well, then Cameron has a best friend. His name is Jamie, and he has feelings for her. She decides that she's going to try a boy-girl relationship. They date a little bit. She's okay with it, but it just doesn't feel right to her. Well, then she becomes friends with this other girl. Her name is, I think it's Coley. It's a weird name. I can't think of, it's like Coley or something really odd. And they become best friends. And also Coley has a boyfriend named Brett. And they kind of double with Cameron and Jamie. Jamie knows that Cameron has had some girl relations. And he knows that deep down she would sooner be with a girl than him. And he's upset about it, but he kind of deals with it and still stays her friend. Well, she ends up falling in love with her best friend, Coley. Coley is straight and is with Brett. Well, over the summer, Coley starts having some feelings for Cameron also, but she doesn't want anyone to know. So they start having a relationship in private. Well, they get kind of not really walked in on, but somebody's suspicious. Somebody thinks there's something going on. So Coley tells her family that Cameron forced her to be with her and that she has basically corrupted her. When really, if you read the book, Coley was the one that instigated it with Cameron. But she twisted around. So when her aunt and grandma find out about it, they're horrified, and they send her to
This is Cameron's?
yes,
Okay.
because everyone feels that Coley's a victim, so she doesn't get in trouble at all. Everyone feels sorry for her. They feel like she was victimized by Cameron, which was not the case. So Cameron's mom, or I mean, her grandmother and her aunt send her to, it's called like Promise. What is it supposed to be? Let's see if I have it written down. God's Promise, which is a religious conversion camp for people that are gay to convert you back to being straight again. So everybody there, their parents or somebody sent them there because they're underage and they're having same-sex relations. Now the thing about this camp that I have some problems with, first of all, if you're trying to get them to not be gay, would you put two girls that are gay in the same room? Not a bright idea. You'd have been better off putting a girl and a boy in the same room if they're both interested in the other sex. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
They don't. They put girls with girls and boys with boys, and then they're surprised when things happen. It just didn't make sense to me on that part. It's like they were being a little over hopeful, maybe, or naive. So it's kind of about the relationships that she makes at this camp, and she really starts doubting, is she going to go to hell? Because that's what they're telling them, that if they stay feeling this way, what's going to happen to them? And, you know, she's really confused. Well, they're very forceful in their beliefs. And for some of the kids, it becomes too much to take. And one of the boys there does some really bad bodily harm to himself because he hates himself so much from what they're teaching. Can you understand that?
I can understand.
They're telling him how awful and horrible he is, and he feels awful and horrible, but he still feels that way. So he decides he's going to, can't really tell you what it is because you need to read the book, but he's going to self-mutilate himself so that he can't feel that way. I don't know if that kind of gives you an idea.
Yeah, I got the idea.
Right. And that's when her and two of her friends there decide, we're not staying here. We can't do this. This is going to mess us up even worse than we were before. So they get the idea that they're going to run away from camp. So I'm not going to tell you what happens, whether they decide to run away, they follow through with it, whether they get away, where they end up. But it's a big book, I will tell you that. It's very detailed. There's a lot to read. But I think for kids that are feeling this way and are struggling with sexuality, it would be a good book to read, to understand that, you know, a lot of people are confused about this. It might not just be you. I mean, she's very confused in this book about how she feels and is she a bad person for feeling that way and how people perceive her. So it's a really good book. And on that subject, we have a couple other books. This is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. This also deals with same-sex relations, but this time between two boys. And a lot of good things about this. I think this has been, it's the Prince Honor book from Publisher Weekly. It's got several other nominated for other awards, so this would be another one. And we didn't have this one, but I did find one more when I looked through the whole system about two girls called Annie on My Mind, but we do not have it. We have it in the system, but not here at the library, and it's by Nancy Garden. Oh, by the way, Aristotle and Dante is by Benjamin Eliar, I think it's Sayans, and we do have it here. And Annie on My Mind is also about two girls that are best friends that develop feelings for each other and what that does to their lives and to their families. So 3 books about same-sex relations, all taking it differently in different contexts.
I would think that the reason why this is banned, language-wise, and probably with the boy mutilating himself.
It doesn't really give graphic.
But it's probably the whole nature.
But they say it's just language, yeah. I don't think it's just language. I think it was more than that. But, I mean, we don't have it banned here. There's lots of books that are banned for a lot of different reasons.
I do have to say, though, they have progressed. What do I want to say? For those whose parents do not understand and are forced into treatment of some sort, we have progressed in the fact that it's funny because American Horror show, that TV show, addressed this in Asylum.
Oh, really?
Back in the day, you wouldn't believe what they did. They called conversion treatment.
Well, I don't even think they do this anymore. I don't know. I don't think there's these type of camps like there was maybe in the 80s and early 90s. I don't know. But I don't think it would be like this now.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's something I would have to look up. But I mean, even this was, you take, that's been how many years ago? Early, this said it was early 90s. So that's been 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So even then, we've come a long way in 15 years.
Well, there are still places you can go. There are religious, what do I want, setups.
But I don't know if they have them for youth where they're forced to go. You know what I mean? Where it's not up to them.
Well, yeah, there are places that parents can
Really?
send their
Okay.
children to. Yes,
I didn't know that they still did that.
It's more supposed to deal with the teachings, and to look at it from a biblical point of view to show that maybe you're just misguided. Maybe
That's
you're not
how they do it at this
I
point.
know
Yeah.
that's not how they do it, but this is how they do it supposedly now. Is supposed to be more of an instructional, more of a let's find out why you're having these feelings and let's look at it from a biblical point of view as to why this is not biblically.
To me, it'd be something you would have to choose to do yourself. I don't think
Well,
somebody can make, you know what I mean? I think when you try and make somebody go to do something like this, if they don't want to change,
It's the whole,
And
are you
can
born
they-
this way
and
or
can
is
they
this a
even
choice?
change? Yes.
You know, that's the whole principle of this whole thing. That's the
Right.
whole fight nowadays is this a choice that you make or is this the way you're born? And that's the
Right.
$1 million question.
I have my beliefs. I'm sure you have your beliefs.
Oh,
We're
yes.
not going to get into
No,
that.
we will not.
But I think they're good books, and there's a lot of kids out there I think that could benefit from reading about this, whether it's something they're feeling, a friend's feeling, a relative's feeling, maybe to give them an insight as to what it's like for a person that does feel like this.
Right. I guess if you feel you can't talk to somebody, maybe
Right.
perhaps reading about it maybe can give you a different perspective.
Right.
But I truly believe that the best thing is to talk to somebody about it because.
Well, I'm saying maybe it's not you yourself, but maybe, you have a friend that's like this. And so maybe reading a book about it would make you understand a little bit more of what they're
Maybe.
going through. That's kind of what.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's a good point. That's good. Okay. Well, it is the month of November. It is the month of Thanksgiving. And so for my first children's book, I'm going to try to do this in what do I want to say? Progression, meaning the first book I'm going to do about is Indians. The next one will be about pilgrims. Next one will be about turkey, I guess. And then I don't know if we would have a blog that would be on here past Thanksgiving, because we don't show this till the week after.
Sometimes
we
2
filmed
weeks
it.
after,
Yeah,
depending.
so
Yeah.
don't know how many I'll get in.
Yeah.
As long as I get the Indians and the Pilgrims, I'm good. Okay, so the first one is, and this is one of the more popular Thanksgiving children's books, is called Squanto's Journey. The Story of the First Thanksgiving by Joseph Bruchac. And this has to do with Squanto, which that is not his real name. That is the English version of his Indian name. But this guy that wrote this, he is a Native American himself, and he wanted to make it as authentic as he could because he says that a lot of people, when they hear of Thanksgiving and the stories that they've read about Thanksgiving, it's really a misconception as to how the first Thanksgiving really was. And everybody likes to think that the first Thanksgiving, the way the Indians and the Pilgrims came together, it was just I can't think of the word I want to say. Was it peaceful get together? It was not. It was very, very contentious. It was a huge battle. It really was. And for them to even come together, and the reason why they came together had a lot to do with Squanto. Squanto was with this, I can't even pronounce the Indian tribe that he was with. It started with a P. That's all I'm going to tell you. You can look it up or you read this book to find out. And he's living his little happy life, and then all of a sudden, English settlers have been coming over for a long time, and we're probably going back to Columbus days. And some people even like to think that English people were coming over even before Columbus. Like a lot of people think the Vikings were here way before Columbus even thought about it. Anyway, so we're going back to pre-Columbus days, around Columbus time, when the first English settlers that we know of, or should I say have been accurately documented, of course, brought a lot of disease and really wiped out a lot of his family. Well, anyway, they captured him. They gave the pretense, why don't you come onto our ship, share a dinner with us. That's how they got the Indians on. They sailed them to Spain. So you're thinking this is Columbus time. They sailed them to Spain and put them into slavery. Well, here you've got people who are not even speaking English, and you're putting them into slavery. I'm thinking, well, that doesn't even make any sense to me. How can they take orders when they don't even know the English language? That's what I don't understand. It must have been some kind of
Wasn't
working
Africa
fields.
like that too, though? They didn't know
I would think so too.
They didn't know the
Yeah.
English language.
Yeah, so I don't understand. I guess when you're working in the plantation or out in the fields or something, I guess you don't really have to know English. Just have to know hard labor, I guess. Anyway, he befriends some English people since he is kind of used to English people coming to where he was from. He learned the language really well, and he befriended these English people who helped him escape from slavery, and he sailed with them over to England. Once again, he befriended some more English people, really got to learn the language, and when they wanted to set sail to America, they took Squanto with them because he thought that he would be a good peacekeeper between the Indians and the English coming to America and wanting to start this first settlement. And the guy in the back, the author of this book, even claims in the back that had it not been for Squanto, the English settlement, as we know of Plymouth, might have failed.
Really?
Because they would not have been able to communicate with the Indians. By this time, because of the treachery that the English had done by coming over and getting these Indians and wiping out the population with diseases, the Indians were very untrusting
Understandably.
of the English. And so when they saw this English coming over, had it not been for Squanto, they would have probably killed all those pilgrims, as you like to call them. But anyway, and it talks about his slavery and his journey back and how he befriended other Indians because, like I said, half of his tribe, only 2 people were left because of the diseases that rampaged through his community, through his tribe, however you want to put it.
Brought by the English.
Yes, brought by the English. So you'll have to read it. It's a very, it kind of makes you want to find out more about Native Americans because I think what we hear from a Pilgrim's point of view. We hear from an English point of view instead of from a Native American point of view. And I think a lot of people, when they talk about Thanksgiving, they focus on the Pilgrims. You don't really hear too much about the Indians. So it's a very good book for an introduction to the Indian side of Thanksgiving.
Oh, I'm tired.
Yeah, I did tell you who it was by.
Yeah. For my next book, I guess, I did a nonfiction. I know I don't do these very often. I'm trying to broaden my horizons. I really enjoyed this book a lot. It's called Penny Chic, and it's by Shauna Miller. And she has a whole site, pennychic.com. And what she does is on her site, there's all different things, but she tries to show you that you can look stylish with not a lot of money. And she actually has her own line now at Walmart. And the book,
what?
Penny Chic.
I've never seen it.
Yeah,
at Walmart.
it's fairly new.
I was going to say.
So I think it might be in the junior department, probably too. This is a young adult book. Anyway, so she does a lot of things in this book. The first thing that she does is she has you to find out what your style is. And so she asks you all these different questions, and there's a chart, and you can find out what you lean to more style-wise, which I thought was really a good idea. And it's like...
Did you take it?
Yes, and I agree with what it came out with. There's classic, girly, boho,
what is boho?
edgy. Boho is kind of like hippie, flowy, floral.
Hobo? I mean, at first that's what I thought.
You've never heard of that? Bohemian?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
And sporty. So she has 5 different categories. You might be in a mixture of 2, but there'll be one you lean towards a little bit more. And then she kind of tells you what the basics, gives you a couple examples of the way outfits look for, like, this is classic. Tells you a couple things that are really good to have if you fit the classic style more. And gives you kind of like staples.
Oh, back out just a minute though. When she's telling you the type you are, does she also go by body type? Because you may be a bohemian, but maybe that bohemian type does not look good on your body type.
It doesn't talk anything about body type in the whole book.
Really?
Because she thinks you should be able to dress how you want regardless of your body type. And a lot of people do feel that way. So
interesting.
So then she talks about that. So that's one part of it where you kind of identify what you are. Then she talks about, I like this part, how to organize your closet, how to look through what you have and decide what you really wear, what you don't wear, and kind of make like a inventory of your closet. What do you think you need? Because sometimes we go shopping, and I know I do this. You just pick, ooh, that's pretty. You know what I mean? You don't think, I have nothing to go with this. So she says, make a list of what you have and what you think you would need to complete to take with you when you do go shopping so that you have a better idea. And I think that's a good idea. And then it talks about, this part 2 is building your wardrobe. It talks about how you can take things from, I thought this was really cool, from like your dad's closet, if they don't care, your brother, your boyfriend, your grandma, your grandpa, your mom, and how you can convert it to fit you and something that you could wear with an outfit. And there was some really
Does that
cute,
require sewing or
no,
anything?
no sewing. Nope. And I think that was a really cute idea. And when you look through how she changed it, it works. It's really good. I think I can see a lot of girls doing this. And then she has another one that talks about other ideas to enhance, build your wardrobe, like swapping with a friend. You know, it's not there's maybe you've changed a size, or maybe you're just tired of something, and you don't have to swap permanently. Just try it for a month. Where, you know what, we're going to trade this for a month, so it feels like you have something new.
I cannot.
What?
I'm going to give a personal opinion here. I cannot stand this mismatched look.
Oh, it's popular now.
I know it is, and it drives me insane.
Then,
It's like I want to say to the girls, did you have the lights on when you got dressed?
then there's a DIY section, and there was some really good ideas on here on some things that you can do craft-wise, like how you can take jeans and embellish the waist and the pocket so that they look like the really expensive ones. This one was how to take a regular t-shirt and give it lace sleeves. There was some really good ideas.
So there are some sewing and some
She always uses fabric glue.
fabric glue.
And fabric glue will work. I have used it. It
Mhm.
does. It shows how to make the lace inserts on jeans. Oh, there's a lot of different craft ideas on how to take what you have. Then there's a whole other section on how to shop new, cheap-wise. It tells, I thought this was really great, tells where to spend your money and where not. Like, if you're going to invest in something, she says invest in a coat because you can wear it numerous seasons and it's something you wear almost every day. And then she talks about, you know, white t-shirts can go great if they look white. How many times have you seen this? Where it looks great the first few times you wear it, and then it's like beige.
Well,
And
the
it doesn't look so good.
key to that is don't wash it in bleach.
Don't wash it in bleach?
Do not wash it in bleach.
So-
In bleach yellows.
Right. So
White.
she talks about, you know, instead of spending $40 on a white t-shirt that's a name brand that nobody's going to know, spend $5 to $10 and get 2 or 3 white t-shirts so that they stay crisper and whiter longer. So it talks about that. It talks about where to shop. She talks about what are the best buys you can get at Walmart. What are the best things to look for at Kmart? She even tells the days that the sales come out. I mean, she's put a Forever 21, Target, Old Navy. I like that she broke it down into stores we recognize,
Mhm.
not these stores nobody's ever heard of.
Right.
I mean, these are stores that are just about in every town or a town near you.
Right.
So TJ Maxx, Express, she talks about all the things at different stores that are good staple pieces. She also talks about taking pictures. I've heard of this before, and I do think it's a good idea. Put on an outfit. If you're not for sure how it looks, sometimes in the mirror it will look different. I mean, let's be honest. Take a picture of it, and then look at the way it looks on your phone, or even send it to a friend if you're not quite for sure. I mean, you've done that with me when Sydney's been looking for
Mhm.
dresses. Send it to somebody else that you trust for an opinion, maybe. You know, so there's some ideas on that. And she also says, and I know people that do this, they take pictures of outfits that they've put together and keep almost like a binder of it because they'll forget that that looked good with that. So that they have it
Right.
to look back on.
Joan Rivers did that.
Yeah.
Joan Rivers took a picture of each outfit. She put the date that she wore it,
Yeah.
where she wore it, so that she wouldn't wear the same thing again to that same thing, and then how she looked in it. Yes.
Then there's a whole section on shopping secondhand. I think so many girls don't do this. They really should. It talks about now secondhand shopping. She says you really can't go secondhand shopping looking for a specific piece because your chances of getting something specific secondhand are slim. Go and see what you find. Keep your options open. It talks about things that are good to find at secondhand store. Purses, jewelry, things that, you know, vintage that looks good, that you can really pop a piece with something inexpensive from a secondhand store. She talks about belts. That is a good one because my daughter likes belts. And if you buy a really nice belt, like at a department store, they want like $30 for a nice belt. You can go to Goodwill and you can get the same darn belt. I'm not kidding you. Same brand name and everything for $1. And it talks about that. That's one thing that they don't hardly mark up at Goodwill and at secondhand stores is belts. It talks about, and I think this is a great idea too, party dresses. How much do we spend on dresses for homecoming, prom, parties that we wear? How many times? Once. You can go to a resale shop, buy one, take it to a tailor. It's going to cost a heck of a lot less than what you would spend buying a new one, and you're not going to have to worry about somebody else having it.
Right.
It's going to be unique because it was a couple years ago or even farther back than that.
Yeah, in fact, a lady was just telling me when my daughter was looking for a homecoming dress that there's a place over in Indiana where if you like a certain part, like say you like this yellow ribbon thing, she'll cut the top part off the bodice and put a different skirt on with it so that it is your unique dress.
And that's a lot cheaper.
And it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, and
if you know how to sew yourself, you're even one step ahead.
So it talks about doing stuff like that, especially for parties.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much in here. It talks about shopping at flea markets for one-of-a-kind, like brooches and things that you can. I thought there was
estate sales are another good place to go.
Garage sales.
Garage sales.
It talks about that, and it even gives ideas on what type of jeans are appropriate for different places, like school. It gives idea of, this is a better look for school, and I think this is kind of good for some girls that maybe dress a little too provocative sometimes. It gives some ideas of, this can be ideas that you can wear at school that look good. This one I thought was great. It said if you get a job as an intern or somewhere you have to dress up, you don't have to go out and buy a blazer. If you have a pretty cardigan, you can wear it over a dress and belt it. Mm-hmm. And it looks super nice, and it does. So you're not having to go out and buy.
Well, I don't like that.
Oh, I do like that. Yes, I like that very much. No. So there's just lots of ideas of different things you can do. Mm-hmm. The book covers just about everything. So that we have this. It just came into the library. I think it would be a great one. I pulled a couple others like that. We have I Spy DIY Style. This is very cool. It takes ideas from runways and shows you how to do it yourself. Mm-hmm. As in, like, this is a grommet dress. I'm trying to think who has it on. Kate Bosworth has on. Shows you how you can take a regular dress and add grommets to the middle and make your own grommet dress for practically nothing.
If you know how to do that.
Well, grommets are pretty easy. I've done grommets many times. That's not a hard thing. Well, this one's an easy one. These are real popular right now. Drew Barrymore has them on. These are these hemp hoops. You can buy basic hoops at Walmart for nothing, and then you buy the hemp
beadings and stuff. Yeah.
And instead of spending $30, $40 on earrings, it costs you, especially if a group of you get together and you can buy the stuff in bulk, and like 5 of you can make earrings, you can make them for like $1 a piece if you do it like that.
Oh yeah, and Walmart, you can buy the jewels and all that
stuff.
Yeah,
it talks about that. It talks about, what are some of the other things? Safety pin necklaces. It's all made from safety pins. I know they're selling these and they're really hot right now. Shows how you can make it yourself. This is how to dye a dress to look like a dress that Heidi Klum had. That's called a chopstick dress. And I have to admit, it looks very similar to what she did, and it shows you how to do it. Lots of different things. Some of it, a couple involve sewing, very, very few. So I think this would be really fun, especially for a couple friends to get together.
Great Christmas gifts.
Yeah, and make some stuff. We have that one here at the library. These are all up in young adult in the nonfiction section. And this one is Second Time Cool. This is all ideas to make with sweaters. This shows how you can go to a secondhand store or an old sweater you have that you don't like anymore, and how you can cut parts off and sew them onto other things. Now this one does involve a little bit more sewing, but it's pretty basic stuff. Shows how you can make a sweater into a skirt, into gloves and mittens. And Karen knows last year I spent how much on mittens that were made from an old sweater. Remember, you were like, what? And I love them that somebody had made. It was like a specialty shop, and she had made them from old sweaters. And they were.
Was that your crop class?
Yeah, she has a specialty shop though. Hats. You can make hats, slippers. There's all sorts of things you can all these different scarves, all these things you can make out of old sweaters, purses. So that was kind of a cool idea. And we have more of these up here, but there's just a sample of some of the nonfiction style fashion books we have.
Interesting. But for somebody who doesn't, I couldn't sew a lick. I can barely sew on a button. I can sew on a button.
I sew, so
So I'd be paying somebody a fortune that it would probably be cheaper for me to go buy it new
oh yeah,
than
I
it would for me to pay
but for
somebody
someone
to
who
do it.
can sew,
Right.
and I do. I do alterations on clothes. I do lots of things. So
I truly believe that sewing is a dying art. I mean, people, if you want a job that is never ever going to go out of style or never,
Mhm.
there's always going to be a need for sewing.
always, yes.
Always. I mean, you could have your own shop. I mean, people, wedding dresses, everything. They always need a seamstress. And how much do you pay to have your and I'm telling you on purpose, when you go to get wedding, they make it big on purpose so that you will have to pay to have it altered. And it's crazy. You spend almost $100 to have it altered to what the dress.
And I don't know if you've ever watched Project Runway. I mean, if you're
Yes.
a designer, you need to know how to sew.
Yes.
I mean, that's what kills some of these designers. They have great ideas, but they can't make it to show it. It's the ones that are great
Yes.
seamstresses that end up progressing because they can make what they think.
And yeah, like, you know, like my daughter, she was going to a very conservative school and she had to have spaghetti straps sewn onto a strapless dress. And I mean, what you pay in
You
alterations,
couldn't sew on spaghetti straps?
huh? They had to be 2 inches.
Yeah, and you couldn't sew those on?
No.
You should have told me I can sew on spaghetti straps. I mean, that's like
Well,
hardly anything. Couple
Please.
stitches.
well, they took the material off the bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, and it ended up costing me $125 for all the alterations.
Wow.
To have it shortened, you know, so it wouldn't drag it on the ground, to put the spaghetti straps.
Mhm.
They kind of had to make the chest part a little
Mhm.
closer to her chest
Take
so that
it in
it
on the
didn't.
side.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, exactly. Yes, it is amazing. If you know how to sew, I think you've got the key to the universe, basically. Because I mean, if you can sew, there's nothing you can't do, in my opinion.
I've made curtains. I've made pillows. I've
People
made
who can follow those patterns, I think it's amazing to me.
costumes for my kids.
Yes.
I mean, yes.
Yes.
I've made lots of things. And for home decorating, it's also great because it costs so much to buy curtains are
Yes.
expensive. Curtains and throw pillows
Yes.
and all of that. And I can go buy fabric and have a huge selection of what I want and make curtains and matching pillows and all of that. And it was great when the kids were little because they would go through themes.
Right.
Like I remember when they were really little, we had jungle theme, and I bought all the fabric and made pillowcases and pillows and curtains and all that.
However, though, you know, I think you would need a sewing machine. But like my grandma used to sew a lot, and it got to the point where she stopped because by the time she bought the fabric,
It
by
can
the
get
time
expensive.
it
Yes,
takes your time to sew
it
it,
can be expensive.
it got to be too expensive then for her to go buy it.
Yeah, some of the fabric can be very
Yes.
expensive. You've got to be
Yes.
frugal about the fabric. I have lots of times bought sheet sets
Mm-hmm.
that are on sale or clearance and use sheet sets to make things.
Yeah, I've heard people doing that.
Because it can be a lot cheaper.
Yep. Yep, I've heard that.
Okay, you're up.
My next book is in the juvenile department. It is called Dead City. This was supposed to be at Halloween, but Margaret got sick,
Sorry.
so I wasn't able to do it at Halloween. You can barely even see the cover. It is a
Purple and-
series. The first book is Dead City. The second book is Dead City, but the name of it is Blue Moon. And it has to do with a girl named Molly. She's
Who's it
12
by?
years old, huh?
Who's it by?
Oh, I'm sorry. It is by James Ponti. Ponti. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
Ponti? I'm going to say Ponti.
I'm
I'm going to stick with that. And this book has been nominated for the Texas Blue Bonnet nominee for the 2014-15. I'm not even sure what that award is, but it's a nominee. Yeah, along with The Day the Crayons Quit, some other popular books. And this is, what do I want to say? I can't even think of the word. It's considered a horror book. Anyway, Molly, she's a 12-year-old girl. And her mom used to be the medical examiner in the morgue until one day Molly used to spend a lot of time with her mom down there in the morgue watching her work and stuff. And it was just kind of a time when they would bond and
Kind of weird.
catch up on things. Yeah, it was very weird, yes. And then one day, as Molly and her mom were walking from the morgue, a man chased them up this building and killed her mom.
For no reason. Or that she didn't know the reason.
We don't know the reason. He just killed her. But you find out sort of towards the end of this book, and I think you'll find out more. Well, you kind of find out towards the end of this book.
There's another book?
There is another book. It's called Blue Moon.
Okay.
But it's Dead City. The series is called Dead City. And this one is Dead City is the title. And then the second book is called Blue Moon. You find out towards the end of the book kind of why her mom was killed.
Okay.
Anyway, Molly still, because she's just almost like a permanent fixture within the morgue, she still goes down and visits
The people that work there.
that work there. She's really good friends with the guy that was her mom's boss. And there's now a girl down there named Natalie who's kind of like interning down there. Well, one day the doctor says, "Hey, Molly, how about you and Natalie accompany me to the cemetery? I need to go to the cemetery and check out a crypt."
Okay.
So when they arrive at the cemetery, hanging from the gates to the cemetery, there's a hand hanging there.
Okay.
And Molly's kind of looking around like, okay, what's going on here? And the doctor just doesn't really think much of it.
Who would think much of that?
Well, you'll find out
Okay.
why later.
Yikes.
So Molly's just kind of thinking, okay, what's going on? Well, they go to the crypt, and Molly is the smallest one that goes down. He wants her to go down and look at this crypt, and I think it's been a while since I read this. I think he wants her to either write something from the tomb or go down and investigate the crypt. Well, anyway, when she goes down there, the crypt is empty. And so when Molly comes back up and reports this to the doctor, once again, she's kind of puzzled by his reaction. He's not really having a reaction. And she's thinking, what is going on here? Well, come to find out, Molly, I can't remember if it's that day or later on, Molly is getting ready to go home. And because of where her mom got killed up high, there's two ways that Molly can go home. She either has to take the subway or she can take what's either called, I think, a tram or a trolley that goes on those ropes. Well, Molly refuses to take the tram, which would be the quicker way. She decides to take the subway. As she's waiting for the subway to arrive, she notices that this guy is just kind of staring at her. And he's got like this really kind of like grin on his face. And she's thinking, what is going on here? Where's the cemetery?
Who does she live with now?
She lives with her dad, and she has another sister. Her sister is real popular. Real popular. Older.
Okay.
Molly is the geek. She's 12 years old, but in high school.
Oh,
So she's really far beyond her years.
Okay.
And she also, one trait that she does share with her mom is that she has one blue eye and one green eye.
Okay.
And there's actually a name for it. It's called
Yeah, I know, but I can't think of
something. But anyway, she shares that, and her mom had it also.
Okay.
So she and you find where that kind of plays in here later. That's a very important key to the book. Anyway, she's sitting in the subway, and this guy's just staring at her, and she's thinking, this guy's really creeping me out. I'm leaving. I'm going to go either, I can't remember if she's going to walk home or wait for the next train, but she's getting on that subway. She goes to leave, and she knows the guy starts following her. And so she kind of like speeds up. He speeds up. The next thing you know, he's grabbing her. She's going up the stairs. He grabs her leg and is pulling her back down the stairs. All of a sudden, that Natalie, that was that intern down in the morgue, comes to her rescue and rescues her. But I think the zombie, I can't remember. No, he doesn't bite her, but he did catch her, and he did kind of knock her up to the wall. Natalie says, you're going to have to take the tram. The subway is not safe for you. You're just going to have to live with your fear and take this tram. Natalie informs her that that guy was a zombie. And Molly's like, zombies? Well, what are you talking about? Zombies. There's zombies. And the Molly goes on to tell her that there's actually 3 levels of zombies.
Natalie tells Molly, you mean?
Yeah, Natalie tells Molly that there's 3 levels of zombies. Level 1 is like me. I could be a zombie, but I'm living a normal life, and you don't know that I'm a zombie.
Okay.
Then there's a level 2 zombies where they're leading a normal life, but they can become aggressive. They don't like what they call humans breathers. They don't really like breathers, but as long as you stay out of their way, they're really not going to bother you. And then there's level 3 that are the zombies that just want to kill everybody. And that's what this guy was. He was a level 3
Why
zombie.
was he zoning in on Molly for?
You find out. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. So then Natalie all of a sudden I'm kind of like skipping a couple pages, but to get to the nitty gritty of the book, Natalie's is a member of a team that is a team of zombie hunters. And come to find out, Molly's mom was the #1 zombie hunter. And the way these zombies came to be was that there was, I guess this is a true story, that there was 13 miners in Pennsylvania where back in the 1930s or something where this mine collapsed. Well, supposedly those 13 miners ended up becoming zombies. Molly's mom was the #1 zombie killer. And now they want Molly, thinking that she's inherited her mom's traits to be a zombie killer. And I guess when zombies come after you, they can get their scent in you, and then that's how they track you down later. Well, so they have to find a way to get the zombie scent out of, or Molly's scent out of the zombie's nose that attacked her in the subway. And I guess, I got back up here a little bit. In the subway, Natalie put vanilla up the zombie's nose. Vanilla extract, and that freaked out Molly. And then that's when she explained to her about the zombies, and then that's how you get rid of your scent once a zombie has gotten it. Anyway, so they want Molly to join this team, and it gets to the point where Molly joins the team, but she joins it with a secret mission. She wants to find the zombie that killed her mom. So you'll have to read the book, because when it gets towards the end, she's just on the track of finding the zombie. She knows somebody who can get her on the track to where this zombie is that killed her mother, and she has to go to the head zombie guy who happens to be one who was the supervisor of those 13 miners that got trapped. And so she goes to interview him using a different name in disguise, but he recognizes her because of her eyes. So then he has her alone down in the tunnel, because he stays down in the mining tunnels, because zombies have to be around like this, not some kind of rock material in order to keep their strength up. But you'll have to read the book to find out exactly what that head zombie has in store for her.
Sounds pretty good.
Yes, it is. It's. I'm not a zombie book person, and granted, it is written in a juvenile manner,
Right.
you know. But come to find out that this author, he was viewed as a reluctant reader when he was younger.
Oh, really?
Yes, and so he has written it in a manner maybe more simplistic that most people would like to read at, to bring in a reluctant reader so that they won't be intimidated by the writing, intimidated by big words and that kind of stuff. So that's why it's written, is to and it's supposed to be a subject matter that would bring a reluctant reader to read it. So those are the books. You don't have it no more?
No, I only do 2. And
Oh, that's right. Okay, well, the movie that I watched, Neighbors. I'm telling you, people, I know there's a lot of college people, or maybe some people that like it. I thought it was horrible. Horrible movie. I know, I keep seeing, I gotta find some movies I like.
I know.
I keep finding these movies I don't like. Either I'm getting too old to watch movies, I don't know, or I need to pick better subject matter, I don't know. But anyway, this got a 6.5 out of 10. It is rated R, and it has to do with, I think his name is Mac Radner, played by Seth Rogen. He's he's not newly married. He's a married guy with a newborn baby. And him and his wife now they have this newborn baby. They're kind of thinking, man, I kind of miss my younger life. You know, we have this baby. We can't do things like we used to. We're not spontaneous anymore. We have responsibility. And they're not adjusting well to this. Long and behold, what moves next door? But his name is Teddy, played by Zac Efron, and he's with the what's the name of the Delta Psi fraternity, and they have moved right next door to Mac and his wife and their newborn child. And Teddy they have this Hall of Fame wall within the Delta fraternity, and it's getting known for wild parties, and you try to get on this wall. And so Teddy thinks that the way he's going to do it is throw the most outrageous party that he can think of.
Mm-hmm.
And so he throws a party, and the first party he throws, he's trying to like building up to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first party he throws, it's kind of loud, and Mac thinks, oh my gosh, this is a chance for us to kind of relive our youth, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes next door in the pretense, like, hey, can you turn it down a little bit? You know, my daughter's trying to sleep. She's a baby. And Zach's like, or Teddy's like, oh, yeah, we can, but okay, we'll turn it down. He goes to shut the door, and then one of his fraternity buddies says, hey, the way to get this going is we need to befriend these people, because then that way if we befriend them and they party with us, then they won't be so mad when we start throwing bigger and better parties, is to get them, you know, it's better to keep your friends close.
Mm-hmm.
And so they open up the door and they say, hey, why don't you come in? And so they go in and they do what fraternities do, but they've got their baby monitor with them, and they end up leaving the party as a fraternity person. Well, they do this for a period of time, and then they get to thinking, you know what, we're too old. After a few couple of hangovers and trying to deal with the baby, they think, you know what, we can't do this anymore. And then they start being bothered by the noise. And Teddy had made a deal with them when they first came to the party. He says, hey, I'm going to make a deal with you. If you are ever bothered by the noise of my party, please come to me before calling the police.
Mm-hmm.
Let me handle it before you call the police. And Mac says, sure, no problem. After a while, Mac thinks, you know, he tries to call. Nobody answers the phone. He tries to call the fraternity. Well, the parties are so loud they can't even hear the phone ring. He goes and knocks on the door. Teddy doesn't answer it, but a lot of fraternity brothers, and they're like, you know, they try to find Teddy to come to the door. They can't find it. And Mac says, I've had enough. I'm calling the police.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to watch the movie to
So
find out, because once he calls the police, then it's all out war. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Dumb. First of all, a fraternity would never move into a
That's what I was
subdivision.
thinking. I thought that was kind of weird.
Yes. Anyway, keeping up with music. Top radio and pop song is Shake It Off. Taylor Swift, the name of the album is TS 1989. I thought it was Shake It Off, but it's not. And we do have it in the system. And that's the cover of how you'll find it in our system. Come to find out, I've been wrong all this time with Jason Aldean. He's still the top country with Burning It Down.
Jeez, find somebody else. Not that I don't like him, but how long can you be up?
It's only been on there 15 weeks.
Still, that's a long time.
But look how long Iggy was on
that
there.
That was another one.
Yes, that was on there like 24 weeks. I tell you what, though, the more I hear it on the radio, the more I like it. I'm telling you, I might have to break down and buy this CD. And the way it is in our system, and the name of the album is Old Boots, New Dirt. So that it's not Burning It Down. It's not. I think they just show when I look up images, they're just showing the image for the song.
Right.
As how they promote the song.
Exactly.
And like I said, he's top country. And bringing up R&B hip hop is Black Widow, Iggy Azalea, and the name of her album is The New Classic. And this is on Hoopla, and we do have, I think we do have, no, it's in the system. We don't have the CD. All these are in the system, but The New Classic is the only one that's on Hoopla.
Okay.
And that's music.
So that brings it up for books, movies, and music for this week, and we'll see you next week.
We've been doing this for